Hey folks, Matt Sharp here with another Pacific Angler Friday Fishing Report. What a week. I wish I could have some fun and troll you guys because it is Friday the 13th and have a whole bunch of jokes or a whole bunch of, goof ups, give out a bunch of secret spots, really mess up with a bunch of people, but I'm not going to. I figure we all need a little bit of a chill out, think about fishing, not think about the markets, not think about travel plans that have gone awry. And with that in mind, we're going to take a look at what happened for me last weekend, which was a really cool weekend. We didn't have good fishing, but wow, did Mother Nature show her stuff. We had some very interesting weather, some beautiful weather, but some fairly adverse fishing conditions as well. I'm going to walk you guys through that, and we are going to get hit with more of that coming into the weekend. It looks like the temperatures are going to plummet. We're going to get hit hard up Squamish way as well as up the Chilliwack way, and I'm going to talk about how that's going to affect fishing going into this weekend. Also, I figured we wanted something a little bit more lighthearted, and who better to give us something lighthearted than Huge Fly Fisherman. Now, before I go forward, I am not associated with him at all. I just like his quip. I find his stuff entertaining, and I also find there's some hidden gems in his stuff. And this week, he talks about how to find the best fishing spots. I'm going to talk about that video in the back end of the report, and it's worth a giggle. On another front, if you guys have canceled all of your flight plans and now have a bunch of credit with a bunch of airlines, you might be dreaming of somewhere to go when the world settles down. A good friend just came back from New Zealand, and New Zealand's always been on my fishing trip list. And he has a beautiful DIY with a mix of guided stuff, which I think is the best way to do a trip like that. Goes through all of it. We've got links to that in our blog, but I'm going to walk you through some funny pictures as well as what looks like a beautiful trip and something to consider if you guys are chilling out and dreaming of getting out of Vancouver, at least in the long-term future. Last but not least, there was tarpon fishing in the Vancouver waters this week. Zach was out on the weekend, nailed this huge herring, looks exactly like a tarpon. And with that, the fishing in the harbor has picked up. We had some good reports this week of Chinook in with the freighters down deep. So it's worth getting out. Maybe you guys were holding off on making a run, but definitely worth looking at to make sure you guys take advantage of it before the regulations change at the end of the month. As always, guys, you want to see more reports like this, please consider hitting the like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the fishing report. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in with me this week. We are filming Wednesday night, so roll this into Thursday. The slides will probably come from Thursday. I'll put a bar down here of when they're actually from. Check your weather on Friday, because if this tweaks one way or the other, it could change the way you guys are fishing pretty dramatically this weekend, because we are seeing some adverse conditions. What I mean from that is it's going to get darn cold, at least in the nights leading into our fishing days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the way into Monday. Warms up a little bit Monday. We're going to talk about that in a sec. Now, before I go that far, I wanted to talk about this last weekend. I was out guiding, as you guys know, Friday and Saturday, and it was interesting. I have never seen Mother Nature do her thing like she did on Saturday. Now, we had some okay fishing on Friday. We hooked some fish. It was fun. We got out there. We saw some good water. The water levels were really low on the Squamish for Friday, as expected, but we managed to grind it out. Flip it around to Saturday. We started off with weather that was as cold as I like to consider fishing in. And then all of a sudden, Mother Nature dumped on us, and she knocked us down with about 3 inches of snow in an hour. Funnily enough, right afterwards, she melted it all off. Within an hour, she had melted those 3 inches off. Needless to say, when weather like that is happening, I've never had good fishing. I'm sure there's some exceptions to that rule, but when Mother Nature is doing her thing, doing her dance, we want more stable conditions for good fishing. But that said, thanks to my guys this weekend. You guys were troopers. We did find some decent fish on the Friday. For you guys out on Saturday, keep doing what you're doing. It's going to work out for you as long as Mother Nature isn't dumping 3 inches of snow on you, freezing your butts off, and then cooking you in the last 2 hours of our day. Now, let's roll into how that's going to affect this weekend. So because I was out, I've got a pretty good gauge. And we look at the Squamish, you can see Thursday as we're sort of editing and filming this, it's -2 in the night, but then you see -9 at night on Friday with no precipitation. 5 during the day, that's okay. I still figure you guys will have okay fishing today. And then we go 0 and -11. The river's already really low. I'll throw up the real-time hydrometrics here, but it's pretty straightforward. You guys are going to have painfully clear conditions, very few bull trout moving around, definitely no salmon fry hatching in this next sort of 2 to 3 day period. Roll it into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and things are warming up a bit. We have some hope, but I apologize because I think I said it in the back end of February that February hadn't really bared her teeth. Well, we're getting that cold weather now. So what does that mean for you guys? Well, if you're getting out, it's still kind of worth going, and I say kind of with tongue in cheek. There's no better thing to do than spend time out in Mother Nature, whether you hook fish or don't. But in these conditions, you're going to have to work for everyone. Be proud of everyone. Dumb down your presentation size. I would think small fry patterns, small attractor patterns if you're swinging flies, as well as smaller gear setups, smaller spoons, smaller spinners, smaller drift setups, small worms, that kind of thing. And you still should be able to drum up some fish if you work hard. But if you've got only one weekend to get out in the next 4 weeks and you can choose, don't choose this weekend. I'll be straight up on that one. Roll it out to Chilliwack, and if you guys are really heavy on steelhead aren't as affected by cold water as bull trout, cutthroat, and rainbows are, which we see predominantly on the Squamish. And so when we see this, we're still going to get cold. It's going to get very, very low. Alex talks about that more in the blog version of the report. But I expect there still to be okay reports this weekend, but I expect you to work for them. Again, dumb down presentations. You're dropping down in liters to make sure fish don't see them. Get into the 12, 10, even 8-pound fluorocarbon if you're in clear conditions. And then cover ground a little slower, whether you're up Squamish or you're up the Chilliwack Way. For you fly fishermen, that means a 2-step instead of a 3-step, maybe even a 1-step, depending on how it goes. And for you float fishermen, it means paying a little bit more attention to your depth. Take that extra cast. Make sure you're getting 8 to 12 inches off the bottom. Don't cover it quite as quickly as you might in better conditions, and there's still hope to catch some fish. All right, let's throw it out to the Saltwater boys. And Zach was out last weekend and they found some fish. A number of our boats have been out and there's fish in the harbor right now. So that's great news. And the joke was that Zach was tarpon fishing. He hooked this herring on a spoon, which is hilarious. I don't think the fish's mouth is big enough to get over that hook. But that said, this is a very big herring. And with that in mind, we've seen guys maybe step up their spoon size, still run the standard small stuff, but you might throw a big spoon into the mix. We've had a few guys buying herring, throwing a nuclear bait, one that's dyed chartreuse, so it really stands out down there in the mix. And we've heard decent reports, both harbor as well as up Howe Sound and across. And then I think I mentioned it, but the crabbing has gotten better in the Vancouver harbor, probably because there's less commercial impact right now. And so if you want to drop in your old spots, it's pretty good opportunity to get out, get some crabs, get some fish before the closures come into effect at the end of the month. Okay, on the New Zealand front. So my buddy Mark went on a trip. I'm just pulling it up here, bear with me. And New Zealand has always been on my list of places to go. And as much as it could be like dragging a stake through the pound right now with all us very concerned about travel, maybe you're drooling, maybe you want to get out of town, maybe you're thinking about what you're going to do in the next 6 to 12 months, hopefully when things settle down with the world. And I really like reports like this from guys that just went out and did it. You know, they don't claim to be fishing rock stars, but they're darn good fishermen. They understand fishing, and they say, hey, this was the trip I did. This is where we succeeded. This is where we failed. This was where we got humbled, and this is where we were heroes. And I wanted to share that with you guys if you're ever considering a trip to New Zealand, because I think it's one of the coolest places to go fly fishing. I'm going to leave links in the description below to a separate sort of blog post, and as well as give us a buzz at the shop if you guys are considering a trip like this. And I'll talk to Mark and get you guys more details if need be. All right, the last one I've got for you guys is a little bit of a chuckle. Call it Friday the 13th trolling. I said I would show you how to find secret fishing spots, and quite honestly, I'm going to. The Huge Fly Fisherman is a guy that I follow, I watch, I giggle over. I have no association with him, so Huge Fly Fisherman, if you're watching this, I apologize in advance. I hope everybody else maybe takes a look at his work and maybe hits a subscribe button over there. But he did a piece on how to find fishing spots. Now, it's mildly ironic that I'm doing a fishing report and giving you guys some general spots, but I'm going to give you guys the 3 keys to finding fishing spots. And it has nothing to do with bugging a guy at a shop, bugging a guy at work who fishes a bunch, or trying to look at background pictures in Instagram. It has to do with putting boots on the ground and making your boots look like this. It's making your car fuel gauge look like this, and it's spending a ton of time on the water. But if you want to giggle, check out Huge Fly Fisherman's video. I'll leave links up here, links down in the description as well. And I hope in these times of challenge, it'll be worth a chuckle as well as a good mindset to make you prepared for finding your next secret fishing spot. As always, guys, you want to see more reports like this, please consider hitting the like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you in the next Friday Fishing Report.